Hello, everybody. Welcome. I see people leaving for lunch, but some of you are remaining, so great. So in this, first of all, I'm Giacomo Vella, head of Blockchain and Web3 Observatory in Politecnico of Milano. That is the main technical university in Italy. And we do research about blockchain and Web3, try to understand how businesses can use this technology. Here with me, we have a very interesting panel because we have different perspectives on the adoption of blockchain and Web3. So I just leave you like a quick introduction to yourself. Please, Joao, if you want to begin.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. João Rodrigues Frade from the European Commission. I will not be talking about MiCA or new regulations. I'll be talking about the European Blockchain Services Infrastructure, or EBSI. I don't know how many of you know EBSI. If you do, fine. If you don't, you'll get to know it.
Hi everyone, my name is Hayley Forth. I'm here from MSD. We're a pharmaceutical manufacturer and I work in the digital manufacturing division. I'm in a team where we focus on innovative technologies, particularly blockchain and how we can bring efficiencies to our business and benefit our patients.
All right, so hey everyone. I'm Holger Bittner, Director of New Business Development in FC Barcelona, and in that role also working on blockchain, all the Web3 initiatives in a small team together with two colleagues, Anna Soler and Jordi Montpart, and we are driving basically the strategy for FC Barcelona in that entire space.
Okay, so you already see that we have different perspectives. So a public institution, pharmaceutical company, sport team, so very interesting. So let's try to understand, right now talking about Web3 project, blockchain project, makes no sense. So let's try to get into deep in which are the perspectives that you have. So first of all, Holger, why a sports team like FC Barcelona uses blockchain or tokenization? Or why a sports team in general has to use this technology?
So being a sports team, we are entertainment also. We have a massive community, we have large events, and for all these spaces, it's use cases for us to use the technology. So you can look into this to begin with an easy example. Ticketing, for us, a very important one, which based on the blockchain, of course, you have the possibility to trace who is the owner of the ticket, where has the ticket been, so that you don't transfer this no longer. We as a club, we even use the blockchain already for assemblies, so for polls, for votes, to also make them more transparent, more traceable. And ultimately for us, of course, we have a fan base of 400 million throughout the entire world. So you ask yourself as a club, how do we get closer to those fans? And even more importantly, how can those fans get even closer to the club? Because obviously we're very much aware that unique experiences here in Barcelona, and the Spotify Camp Nou, this is the holy grail of sports fan at the end of the day. Being in the stadium, watch a Clásico, whatever it is. But we do understand that out of that 400 million people, just a tiny little fraction is enabled to really come to see us in Barcelona, to be our guest here. So the trick is, how can we offer experiences, how can we offer possibilities for those fans to really engage with us as a club, to give them a platform to become closer, and to ideally give them a digital experience which comes very close to that physical experience we're having in the stadium.
Great, thank you. So Hayley, let's change again the perspective. So you work in a pharmaceutical company. MSD is part of one of the biggest consortium, blockchain consortium that we see right now, that is PharmaLedger. And together with other, let's say, competitors or peers, you created this consortium with the blockchain. And the question is, how do you work together with possible competitors, and what value brings this technology in this kind of projects?
Thank you. A huge amount of value. So really, we are a pharmaceutical company, so you wouldn't expect us to be focusing on technology like many of the other companies that you see at the event today. So it's important for us to be able to collaborate in a safe space like the PharmaLedger Association so that we can share our learnings and perhaps even share potential failures and successes so that we don't make the same mistakes over and over again.
Great. And how PharmaLedger brings value for you, and always seeing this kind of consortium with a lot of competitors, one asks, okay, but why do you want to share a project with maybe another company that is doing the same business that you are doing? So how you can connect? And I already know the answer, but is it blockchain a technological solution that can help to also collaborate with the competitors?
I think what we learned early on in our example is we want to build a digital trust ecosystem for healthcare. So you can't approach it in a way where you think, okay, each company is going to build their own network and treat it like a commodity where you can profit off of that. Because that's not really going to serve the industry and the wider healthcare ecosystem as a whole. So that's where you can come together in an association like this and together design, build a network, or in some cases perhaps even you agree what you could use that's available already.
Great, thank you. And instead, Joao, let's switch again from the public institution perspective. Also in this conference, we heard a lot about Web3, decentralized application, DeFi, tokenization. And when we talk about public institution, it's all about the regulation, the regulatory perspective. What do you think is that, let's say, taking a step back from the regulation, what blockchain and Web3 can bring to public institution?
Yeah, so you can hear me well, because I know that there is a lot of background noise. I want to make sure that you guys are able to listen. So I'm here from the European Commission, but the European Commission does not only regulate. So that's an important first message. The European Commission also enables. So it means it uses technology, and one of these technologies is blockchain. And we are actually, like you, implementing blockchain and using blockchain for concrete use cases. I come from the Director General of Informatics, which is, let's say, the technological arm of the Commission. So I don't do regulation. I actually help the member states to use technology. One of the projects, and there is a lot happening, that we are currently doing with the member states is the European Blockchain Services Infrastructure, EBSI. I don't know, many of you know EBSI. For you, yeah, some of you know EBSI, but not that many. So indeed, the public sector, the member states also run blockchain nodes, in case you don't know. So we have our own blockchain. It's called EBSI. It is actually public permission, so it means that only trusted entities can write on that blockchain, so you cannot do it, but everyone can read from EBSI. So that's the idea, it's a public permission blockchain. Now, why does the public sector want to use blockchain? Because, as you know, there's a lot of information between public and private entities, and it's very difficult today to verify information. You might not notice, but actually it is. Trust me on that. But you should verify it as well. So what we are trying to do is to make information very easy to verify and very difficult to fake. And blockchain helps on verifying information. So let me give you a couple of examples. We are doing this with authentic documents. So for example, diplomas. When you get a diploma applying to your company, is it easy to verify that diploma? It's not. So we want to make that very easy, very fast, very reliable. Products. We have here the Intellectual Property Office of the Commission of the European Union is there, UIPO. And we want to verify also the authenticity of products. So we want to make sure that the brand owner actually is associated to the product that you buy. And we are doing that thanks to the collaboration with the UIPO. Finally, accreditations. When you go and you buy a product as well, or you use a service, many times there is this accreditation, we are accredited, but you cannot verify it. So the idea is to use not only blockchain, but also other technologies like verifiable credentials and digital wallets so that we keep control of the information. And to give you a simple use case, when we put information into a verifiable credential, it becomes signed by an issuer. It can be transferred to your digital wallet, so you control it. And finally, thanks to blockchain, anyone that wants to verify that information can look into the blockchain information about the issuer to get the public key of that issuer and to get to know if it can issue that specific piece of information. Now, think about this. Verification takes really a long time and you cannot even know if it's, reliable. With the use of these three technologies, we shorten the time, we make it super simple. The information is with you, so it's privacy preserving, and the blockchain is just a trust list of entities that can issue information. So a trust list of issuers or verifiers. If you want to know more, everything is online.
Great, thank you. So going back to NFTs, Olger, back to you. We saw in this ecosystem a lot of projects related to NFTs that were called cash grabs. Okay, also from traditional institutions, they only to make, let's say, money fast and creating these NFTs. We already talked about this, so I know also your perspective. So can you expand a little bit about the value that you want to bring also in the future with this strategy that you have in FC Barcelona?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is the main point actually, where you say the cash grab, it's basically the worst thing you can do, and we've seen that oftentimes so far already. I think actually when we all look into this, monetization should be the very last component on that long journey. It should be what happens automatically at some point, maybe, if it happens. But what we want to do is really to attach value, to give value. As I said, we want to get closer to our fans and we want to give the fans a chance to get closer to the club. So what we do have as such a great and big sports IP is experiences, is contents, is access to things you normally would hardly get. So it is probably also sometimes not the experiences money can buy, but it is experiences you could earn in that space, in the digital space, by contributing, by being part of it, by really make your impact. For example, I would like to add something. We just launched a Discord server like 3 months ago, with really the aim to engage with people and with really the aim to understand what do our fans really wish to receive from our end. Not like defining for them what we want to offer and say, hopefully everyone loves it, but to really play it the other way around, to wait for the response, what are the fans waiting for? And I think this is our big point. We can offer this to fans. We can bring them closer by streaming events, by think about NFTs as such. I mean, it's about the price points where we say we refuse to set a very high price because oftentimes in all that projects, it wasn't back up, so you did not receive any value for this. So literally our idea is to deliver more value than you pay. Obviously there's a certain cost attached to an NFT. There's some free mints possible, but for us really the idea is get the people closer, make things people would not be able to afford in a physical world, probably accessible in a digital world. And to conclude with this, obviously we are trying to do this also to lead our fans into some kind of a future metaverse experience where you can make use of those NFTs.
Great, thank you. And starting again, with Olger, from problems that can emerge in your projects. We saw a lot of different blockchain consortia through the last years failed. Okay, TradeLens, B3I, but the list is very long. So how and why? The reason are many, like technological, governance, regulatory. Not finding the value of the solution. How, from your experience, have you seen these problems? And if you are here talking about with us about this project, what are the solutions to overcome these problems?
Yeah, absolutely. That point on value, I think, is absolutely critical, and it's not, news to you all. There's been a lot of discussions about that over the last couple of days, but I think what's important is about how you articulate that value. That's internally and externally, making it unique to your stakeholders. What does it bring to them? And then over the course of your project, thinking of it as not just overall value in terms of a brand vision, that's fantastic, but you've also got to be able to break it down into short, medium and long term. Because critically you will need to have executive sponsors and people at high levels who will champion your project and keep it going. And if all you ever talk about is this grand vision, and then they come to you and they want to see progress in 3, 6, 9, 12 months, and you haven't achieved that grand vision, then you really are at a risk of disappointing your sponsors and potentially losing their support. So I think that is definitely critical. We, I think, have seen that success through PharmaLedger Association and the launch of EPI. So that's a new live solution. By all means, go on the website, pharmaledger.org, or check out the YouTube. You're familiar with, in your medicine packets, you pull out the paper leaflet, and it's got all the patient information on there. The goal of this was to be able to digitize that, so that ultimately patients would always have easy access through scanning the pack on their phones, on an app, access to the latest patient information. And then also thinking of it from like ESG perspective, it means that we can reduce the amount of paper waste across our supply chain. So I think what was critical to that success was that collaboration across the industry, obviously, but also being really clear on what the vision is and breaking it down into these key steps to get there.
Great. Joao, similar question to you, like from the public sector perspective, what are the hurdles? And then another question, you already talked about how EBSI can bring value, so what are the different projects, and what is the roadmap? At what point are we in the EBSI development? When it will be finished, or yeah?
Will never be finished, never. We're going to continue forever. No, EBSI exists, so it's deployed by the member states. Sometimes they get funding, so they get a grant, which means that member states have a financial incentive to deploy one of the nodes. We have multiple nodes across Europe. These are public sector entities, so you cannot deploy one for the moment. We want, of course, to come to events like this to, on one hand, show that the public sector is engaged and doing things, so that you can use this as an example for, like, promoting your own project, and also explain that blockchain is not only crypto and DeFi and regulatory things that are happening here and there. So it's very important, I guess, to pass the message that we can use blockchain for different use cases, and that the public sector is also invested in using blockchain and actually helping citizens and businesses to do things in a much easier way, safer and trustworthy. So that's the main message. Now, the second point that I would like to pass as well, the Commission is actually also running a regulatory sandbox project, so you can know about it on our website, EBSI, where we bring projects to work together with the Commission and lawyers and identify regulatory aspects that might need improvement in the future. So the Commission is also thinking, what about next? What can we improve and make easier? So this exchange of ideas, in my opinion, having other examples in other industries, there are barriers. It's not easy, but we see that there is a lot of potential and value. And of course, this will take time, but eventually we will get there.
Great, thank you. So, Joao, you touched the theme of collaboration. We also saw it with Hayley, that has strong relevance. For you, Holger, in your project, the NFT, the project, your digital strategy, how can enable interaction, collaboration with other actors in your ecosystem?
Yeah, we feel this is probably the biggest use case we see right now. I mean, if you think about it, right now we have possibilities to collaborate and to show partnerships in a 90 minutes game, oftentimes, or when we go on a tour, or you're on a sleeve or on a shirt. I think there's so much potential in just collaborate, in offering more, if you think about loyalty programs, this is probably one of the biggest use cases we could have in mind. Why not receive your coffee somewhere, in some place, just due to the fact that you've seen a match of FC Barcelona before, or vice versa. I mean, we have partners, for example, in Cupra, if you think about it. Watch 5 games and you have a driving experience, stuff like this. I think there is so much untapped potential in this space where we have to be open, where we have to collaborate a lot. And I think this is a super, super early stage we're at right now. But we have in conversation with so many partners of ours, like what we could do in that space.
Thank you. And expanding on the topic of collaboration with you, Hayley, okay, you collaborate already, we said, with the competitors, with other company. But how do you foresee the future of this kind of consortium? And now maybe are separate entities, different consortia, but do you see also collaborating with other blockchain projects in the future? So what's your take on, what's your insight on the future of this kind of consortia project?
I agree. I think that cross-industry collaboration would be great to see more of, and it's wonderful to come to events like this, even though I'm obviously, say, not from a financial background, trying to take learnings from what I'm hearing here. I think being able to create that safer space for people to have a transparent conversation would be wonderful to add to that. Because, of course, this is in the public domain. Companies are not likely to come before you and admit if they did something wrong, even if it's a great lesson that they learned. It's just they want to put their best face forward. A lot of companies here are to pitch and to sell, so they're only going to talk about the good stuff, in short. So I think working across completely different industries and trying to learn from one another is something I would love to see. I'd love to participate in.
Thank you. And just the last minutes, the topic that we are discussing is innovation in Web3, different perspectives. What, Joao, starting with you, what is still missing for developing the Web3 in your field or also in other fields? But what would you change if you can snap your finger and just say, okay, I would like to have this to have really development of Web3 and blockchain also in your project?
Well, I can talk about what we are doing. I'm just sharing, what we are trying to do. And for us, the most important step was to show the technology working instead of just telling that it works and that it's great and can do amazing things. So what we did was to open an experience center in Brussels, the Brussels effect, so that people could come and actually play around with the technology, play with digital wallets, see how the blockchain actually works, and go through a journey of one of our use cases. Being a student that goes abroad and wants to show that he is qualified for a job, or being a mobile worker going to work somewhere else in the European Union and then showing that he has the social security entitlements, and all these great things that are able and possible thanks to blockchain. So my advice is show the technology working, show the value, just don't try to repeat, because I think the hype is gone. Now it's the moment to really show to people that it's working and can deliver value.
Hayley?
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I think I'd perhaps just add to see more use cases from different industries, as like I was touching on before. I'd love to see more conversation outside of the financial sector, outside of crypto, particularly when you're not in that space and you're trying to introduce blockchain and other Web3 concepts. You get a lot of pushback, particularly around perhaps fear of the crypto space and seeing a lot of risk. So it'd be great to see some other examples out there of how it works successfully.
Thank you, Olger. What would you change?
There's 2 angles, I think. On the one hand side, I agree much with Hayley here. It's often about purpose, which I'm missing in that space, because too often it is an obvious monetization model, where I think we try to do our very best, like partnering with projects like plastics, with environmental impact, World of Women, when it comes to female empowerment. I think that is sometimes forgotten, and we have to look into this from scratch a bit more. And when I'm looking into a tech perspective, I think it's the UI, the UX, where we have a lot of room to improve, because I think we must understand, I think there was a panel, or there will be a panel, where it's like how to onboard the next billion people in that space. And I think it's not going to be possible with an existing Web3 solution, because we have to make this more accessible, to more seamless, to enable people who are used to a Web2 world, or probably even struggling there already, to give them an easy entry. And I think this is a huge challenge in that space right now, because we assume very often that people are more tech savvy than they really are.
Thank you. I thought it was very interesting discussion. I thought that we saw different perspectives, but in the end, quite a common view in different projects. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure. And thank you all for being here.